we're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have the New World Orders about to pull off the greatest trick that they've ever done. We have Bitcoin at 64,000. A lot of people saying it's going to hit 100,000. But we know the Fed wants to start shrinking. We know that infrastructure bill is going to bring the taxes on the wealthy. So what do you think is going to happen to stocks? What do you think is going to happen to cryptos? Yes, the liquidity is not going to shrink up ASAP. But we know by the middle of next year, all that free money is going to be gone. And like I stated to you guys, this Bitcoin futures didn't happen to come about a few weeks before we're going to start tapering. Yes, the casino is wide open, but they're going to dump Bitcoin like a bad habit. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, that digital yuan is going to rise back by that digital SDR. And guys, when it comes to Coinbase, I'm not your financial advisor, not financial advice, but please do your own research. We know Andreessen and my guys behind Coinbase. We know Coinbase is leading this tokenized economy. I've done several videos on it. Everything the New World Order is throwing out there, El Salvador moving over to Bitcoin, is moving everybody away from the dollar, because we know when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Bitcoin, sure. You had sort of suggested, I think, that with this ETF, which is about to launch, that we would actually see a run up and then a sell off. Are you still there? Is that still the view?
I sold a tenth of my Ethereum yesterday, and I sold a tenth of my Ethereum about 5 minutes ago.
Another 5. Okay, so this is the second tenth, if you will.
Yes. And here's why I feel about this. I mean, does anybody not know that there's an ETF? These things are up gigantic. I don't want to hurt Mike Novogratz's feelings. So don't worry, he won't. But I do think that there are levels where you need to sell. I know that the orthodoxy says that selling is criminal, but I don't care. I like making money. Made a lot of money.
Paper hands, Mr. Cramer. That's what they're going to start calling you.
You know what? They've been calling a lot. They've been calling me a lot of bad things, but they've ruined my mentions column, Andrew. So it's no longer fun. My kids just won't even look at it, which is bad.
Jim, we're going to see you in just a couple minutes.
Let's drill down a little bit more on Coinbase. You are sort of high on the street in terms of your estimate for earnings. I guess the consensus is $1.47. You are at $2.08. Why do you think they're going to do so much better than your peers do?
Yeah, you're pointing out exactly what you pointed out about our numbers being higher is exactly correct. We monitor volumes. We think their volumes are going to be better than anticipated. I think Coinbase, the numbers have come up. When we first went out with our number about a month ago, overall estimates have come up 6%. So they're certainly moving our way. I'm not sure whether other analysts, what they expect on expenses, but we think we get a pretty good feel for their volumes, and that's the main driver of Coinbase's revenues.
And Rich, while they do largely still trade with the price of Bitcoin, they made this big announcement about NFTs the other day. I think OpenSea is the market leader. How big do you think the NFT business could get for Coinbase? How significant?
Well, they haven't launched it yet, Kelly, but, the company that you just mentioned, I believe, has somewhere around, 45,000 accounts or active users. When you look at Coinbase, they have around 7.5 million active users. So we think, given the sort of the customer base, this could be, a big opportunity. And just Coinbase overall, I think this NFT market is, what it exemplifies is that, that Coinbase is it's not, it's in the market for crypto. Anything positive for crypto and crypto credibility, which we think is, this Bitcoin futures ETF certainly points to that. And there'll be other futures ETFs, we think about 5 over the next several weeks that will begin to trade. So anything that legitimizes Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, we think in the long run is good for Coinbase.
And for investors, Caitlin Long is the chair and CEO of Antibank, a crypto-friendly bank. Caitlin, I'm sorry, great to have you today. But
thank you.
Do you think it's really the retail investor who's interested in this product, or is it more for institutions who really can't deal with straight Bitcoin?
Certainly a lot of institutions like 401k plans and some IRAs need the product rather than Bitcoin itself. But there's certainly also a lot of retail interest in this. What everyone should be aware of, though, as you correctly said in the intro, is that this is not Bitcoin. It's not the same thing. And very likely the returns, if passed as prologue, are going to lag actual underlying Bitcoin by a quarter to a third. So there's a big tracking error in futures-based ETFs, in commodities, cash-settled futures-based ETFs, and everyone should expect that.
Would you be more in favor of, what would we call it, a cash Bitcoin ETF? Or do you really believe not your keys, not your coin? If you want Bitcoin, literally, physically try to take custody of it and don't get involved with these kinds of products?
Well, that is definitely the best way to own Bitcoin because you don't have counterparty risk. Bitcoin is an asset that's not anyone's IOU. And as a result, you have the ability to be your own bank, to own it yourself, but you do have to take personal responsibility to educate yourself, invest in yourself in the knowledge of how to manage your private keys. The problem is that many don't want to do that. And as a result, we typically, they're looking for wrapped products like this. However, there are better ways to own Bitcoin than a cash settled futures ETF.
Sure, although it's understandable that a lot of people don't want to deal with all the steps of physical custody and that kind of thing. Let me just pivot, and again, as somebody who's kind of I don't want to call you diehard, but maybe a longtime Bitcoiner, what are your concerns about the price action today, specifically about some of the leverage, kind of the credit creation within the system? I thought you had a great line the other day about how people always warned that Wall Street would ruin crypto, but it's crypto itself where we're seeing this kind of speculative activity. What are your concerns?
That's right. This is the first bull market post-halvening bull market where we've seen leverage. For those who are not familiar, Bitcoin does have a very distinct 4-year cycle that is tied to what's called the halvening, where the inflation rate of Bitcoin is cut in half every approximately 4 years. And we typically see big bull markets coming not that long after the halvening. The last one was in May 2020. And this is following the previous historical pattern really pretty well. And so what we've seen, though, this time is that because of all the financialization, we're seeing a lot of leverage that has entered into these markets. And it can cause price swings. And certainly I would say in the last few days, there have been a lot of investors waiting for the ETF approval. It is a positive sign, but it is a double-edged sword for the reasons we talked about earlier, where we're getting a lot more paper claims to Bitcoin than there are real Bitcoins. And there is no lender of last resort for Bitcoin. There's no one who will ever make more than 21 million of them. It's impossible at this point. And therefore, there's a lot more risk of the price being swung around this time. And we don't know what it's going to do without a lender of last resort in the next correction.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.